Hi, made this video last night and it wouldn't upload. I tried twice because it said it was too long. It was 37 minutes, but I have other videos that are longer than that, so I don't know what YouTube's trying to do. Anyways, I'm remaking it. God willing, it will be less than 37 minutes, and so let's just go into it. Alright, I've mentioned Matthew 24 and 2 Timothy 3 multiple times in videos that I've made. The Lord keeps bringing me back to these scriptures. Anyways, in Matthew 24, I wanted to take a look at things going on in the world, comparing with some Bible scriptures and some experts in fields, just to see how biblically and even from the non-Christian perspective, we see the signs of the end of the age. All right, so the Lord has already told me with a word that we are in the last days. And so I just want to look at some scriptures that point to that and tell us what we can expect to see. All right, in Matthew 24, Jesus said, "Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." So we can see, of course there's been wars throughout history, but we see an increase of all this going on. There's turmoil in, look what happened to Egypt a couple of years ago, the civil unrest going on there. We have ISIS, we have persecution of the Christians on the rise, and then we have even within our own nation we have civil unrest. We have Trayvon Martin, and then Brown, and then Gardner. We have all these things occurring, and look at what our president's doing with executive orders, just writing them left and right. And so he's changing our laws, and the Bible warns us that the man of perdition will intend to change times and laws. So it's quite interesting. Pray about that one. I'm not saying anything, the Lord hasn't revealed anything to me, but it's just, he did reveal that by 2017 there's going to be a lot of laws changed, and not for the better. And we've already begun to see that with executive orders. And he also revealed to me that there would be strange happenings with the skies and with the weather, and we see that happening. And then also increase in persecution. And so just like the scripture says that there's going to be, you're going to be hated by all nations for my name's sake, the Lord said. And many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Now, part of my reason on YouTube is to help get the message out of salvation to those that aren't saved, that haven't accepted Jesus as their Savior or asked for forgiveness of their sins and turn to Him. So if you're not a believer at this point in time, I greatly urge you to seek the Lord and read His Word and pray and ask Him to reveal Himself to you, because the days are evil and the time is short. Soon we'll be in the tribulation, and then the great tribulation, as Matthew 24:15 onward states here, is the second half, refers to the second half of the 7-year tribulation, which will come upon the whole earth. And then there's going to be, it says there'll be great tribulation. This is the second half after the abomination of desolation occurs. Great tribulation such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time, no, nor ever shall be. And unless those days were shortened, no flesh would be saved, but for the elect's sake those days will be shortened. So all these things give us signs. He says immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken, and you'll see the Son of Man appear in heaven. Okay, so learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branch has already become tender and put forth leaves, you know summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that it is near, at the doors. Surely I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. So I believe that we're seeing the birth pains spoken about right here in Matthew 24, verses 8. The beginning of sorrows, the birth pains. These things that are occurring, quakes, meteors, volcano eruptions, civil unrest, persecution, and weather, extreme circumstances and acts of God. These things will become increasingly more stronger and longer and harder in duration and effect. So as with birth pains in labor, it's going to increasingly get worse and more difficult to the point where the tribulation begins. Okay, so we need to look at Bible, and also in 2 Timothy 3, perilous times and perilous men. We can tell if we read this. I've read this whole chapter before. It's short, but how the world is going to be before the last days and in the last days. And we see these things with society and with unsaved men and women. So just as in the days of Noah, and I've done a video on that, men's hearts will be evil continuously, and they have they're not respecters of God. And so we see these things happening. There's this webpage, I'm going to give a link to it. It's really good. It talks about all these things and evidence and signs of the times, okay, and how we can tell. This is not the same page, but I'll give a link to both pages, just to see that it's evidence pointing to how all these things are coming about. All right, so I want to look at the economy, because the third seal in Revelation chapter 6, I believe, is talking, the third seal is economic collapse, okay? And so before that we have unrest, we have war, and then we have pestilence, disease, and the beasts of the earth, and well, we have unrest, and we have war, then we have economic collapse, and then we have pestilence, disease, and beasts of the earth killing, and famine. So these things we know are going to be happening before the Great Tribulation, the second half of the 7-year tribulation. And right now, 14 experts, this was written a year ago, 14 experts predict economic catastrophe for 2014 and beyond. So there's quotes from all these 14 men and women about how they're projecting that the crash is going to happen. This person says very early 14 and early 2015, and possibly lasting well into 2015 or even 2016. So they all have different projections, but they're all about in the same area. And adding to this, my husband works with somebody who he's an atheist. He doesn't even believe in God, but he follows the money market, and he's all into the economy, and he listens to several speakers and such on this. And 7 of the people that he listens to, 6 of them project that within the next 6 months we're going to have our economic collapse. Okay, and so we already know China's asked for all their money back. They didn't want to take our dollar. They won't take our dollar bills. They don't want our paper. We had to pay them back part of what we owed them in gold. And even some of the gold we gave them was gold-plated titanium. It wasn't even solid gold, so they were very upset, and that's one of the reasons Obama went to go speak with them a month or so ago. And then, but just last week, you can look it up in the news, a week or two ago, China surpassed America in economic dominance. So they are actually, they have the economic, they're the economic superpower at this point. They surpassed the U.S. And then Russia, they're on their way down. Their economy is falling, and so is ours. And so they're in economic distress right now. And compiling onto all this, China and Russia, Russia has, you know, bombers patrolling the Gulf of Mexico, our waters, and they have and also they've been doing bombing flights, practice flights, they say, near Alaska and northwestern United States, off the waters there. And they also have submarines, so in various areas of the ocean. So it's quite interesting how all these things are like escalating, and they're all going to come to a head at some point in time. But anyways, these are economic experts saying that the catastrophe, the global economic collapse, is going to happen soon. Right here in Money Morning, Faber warns everything will collapse. So he's an economist, and he said since 2008 meltdown, he's been a fierce critic of the Fed's policy of money printing, arguing it only creates a phony recovery. So he was speaking out against that and how it's just not helping anything. And then he said that the catastrophe may happen well before Americans hit the polls in November. And so I'll leave a link to these articles. And we see that in Revelation 6. We know that that's going to be that's going to be the third seal. I believe that, I've said this in my videos before, I'm not necessarily a pre-trib or a mid-trib rapture believer. I believe that God will take out his church when it's time to take out his church. And I also believe, as one of my other videos, that there's a time of threshing, separating the chaff and the wheat before the harvest. So there's going to be a time of trials and testing to purge the church and to refine it, and also to draw more into it. It might wake people up to see these things occurring and escalating, and then they realize, hey, this is Bible prophecy and we need to get right with the Lord. So anyways, that's economy experts, and we see in Revelation 6 with the third seal that the economy will go out. Okay, and experts project that once it goes out, it's going to be worse than the Great Depression, and it's going to take 25 years to fully recover. And so I don't think we'll be here by that time, but you know, I personally foresee all the signs of the seasons, the signs of the times coming. I see it, and it's just a matter of time. I know, Dave, thanks. Just a matter of time before the Lord just says that's it, and things start to escalate. So we're going to see it increasing and coming to a final head soon, I believe, in the next year or two. And so that's one of the reasons I'm on YouTube, is to not to cause fear or fear mongering, as some people like to say, but I'm here to be a watch person for the Lord, and to if I see something or the Lord reveals something to me, I should put it out there so that other people that aren't prepared can pray about it, and if they feel led, also prepare. In the event of an economy collapsing or the power grid going out, which Nancy Pelosi told us last November when they did the grid exercises, and you can look that up too, that all the grid exercises failed. And she said it's 100% certainty that the grid's going to go down. It's just a matter of time. And by what? It could be an EMP, either solar or man-made. It could be an attack on the power grid, or it could even be a viral attack, electronically, a computer glitch. Any way that it's about that it will happen, she said it's 100% certainty that it will. It's just a matter of when. Just like the economy, It's just a matter of when. We're just holding it together with band-aids by creating inflation and, you know, printing money, and the gold's not there to back it up. So these things are just obvious, even to the worldly eye, to the atheist eye, let alone to the Christians. So if we foresee danger coming, we should take heed and prepare and hide, as the Bible says, but we should get our house in order. If the Lord gives you warning, he gave Noah and Joseph and many people warnings not to go there or to prepare and stock up, or, you know, and if we see the warning and we don't do it, my husband says, you know, what they call people that aren't prepared, victims. So do you want to be prepared and not be, you know, searching for food when the grid goes down or the economy goes out? There's only 3 hours worth of food. They said that all the supermarkets would be emptied within 3 hours if there was a major, you know, a major earthquake in your area, or act of God, or the power grid goes out, or the economy goes out. Within 3 hours, all the supermarkets would be empty. And so then what are you going to do? You know, and if there's no power, there's no gasoline getting pumped to the cars, how are you going to be able to even go anywhere to go find other food? Or how are the trucks going to bring the food in? So all these things just say, you know, pay attention to things happening, be aware, don't be a victim, pray and ask for the Lord's comfort and strength and protection, of course, but use wisdom and be a good steward of what the Lord's given you. And as he enables you, stock up some extra food and some water and necessities that you would need in case you couldn't get them, medications or whatever. So, and protection, to protect yourself and your family from looters. As we see with the riots, they're even attacking their own store owners, you know, their own community, when those store owners didn't do anything. And now there's like 21 stores that are shut down in Ferguson because, you know, the community attacked and looted and robbed and, you know, just tore up their stores. So it's a very sad thing. We just need to make sure that we have our own house in order, and that we're walking with the Lord and using wisdom. I'm out here because if I see these things and I don't warn you, it's like you have a blindfold on and we're playing, like, you know, what's it, Marco Polo? You have a blindfold on and I spin you around and then I let you go and you're heading right towards a cliff. Am I going to, like, just not say anything and let you go? No. So I feel the urgency and the need to share so that people are prepared. Also, The Harbinger by Jonathan Cahn, if you read it, as well as the Shemitah. Hold on a second. It's very interesting because I'm going to leave a link for you to listen to him. He does an interview here on Sid Roth, but it's a 7-year cycle, and he's discovered it. It's like a biblical cycle with God dealing with the Jews, but also with the church. Every 7 years, you're supposed to honor the Lord and take the time off from harvesting and working and such. And if you don't, you suffer the consequences of judgment. And so the last Shemitah year we had was in 2008 when the market did collapse. And that was in September 2008. And then the 7 years before that was 9/11, 2001. And so the next Shemitah, this is the Shemitah year, which is also very ironic and I don't think coincidental, being that it's part of the 2014-2015 blood moon years, and we have the third and fourth blood moon coming up in September 28, and then in April. So April will be first. So in April 2015, and then September 28, 2015, which is just a few days after the end of the Shemitah year, which is 9/15/15. And then those experts, remember, predict that the collapse would happen in the summertime, right before September 2015. So it all is sort of merging together. And I'll leave a link. It's interesting if you could watch the 17-minute video. It's very informative. He has Jonathan Cahn on here, and he explains this cycle and how God deals with his people. Okay, and then we see earthquakes are going to be on the rise. It's part of the birth pains. There's going to be various earthquakes in many places. And this Live Science article, which I'll also leave a link to, was published in June. And it's interesting because the average quakes that are 7.0 or larger, the average was like 10 a year since 1979. So before that, there was even less. But since 1979, there's been like an average of 10 7.0 or graders a year. Well, in the first quarter of 2014, just in the first 3 months of this year, there were already double that. There were 20 7.0 or greater quakes in the first quarter of the year, and so double the annual average in the first 3 months. So that's quite interesting. And then the volcano activity, if you look at that, there's 37 or 38 active. The red ones are active. There's 37, 38 active volcanoes right now in the world, and erupting on some level or another. This also puts a lot of ash into the atmosphere and causes weather conditions, severe weather conditions, and pollution, and problems with growing seasons. Not only that, but California is on its 3rd year of a severe drought. It's supposedly the worst drought in 1,000 to 1,200 years. And someone else did a video where they were talking, and I'll put a link, where they were talking about the news articles and how California grows 90 to 99% of the produce for the nation. So that's going to cause famine, which is also part of the seals, right? I think the 4th seal. And then so there's many news articles for an increase in volcano and quake activity. These are all from November and December. Just, all these activity, the quake swarms. We've had many quake swarms here in California, and Oklahoma has too. But California, Mammoth Lakes, and the Long Valley caldera has had swarms. Okay, and then asteroids, my last topic. So the Lord has revealed to me, he gave me a vision of an asteroid, didn't say when or what size. He did show me in a dream that 2 asteroids were coming, meteors. One would be close to California. It would be double the power of the Russian one in February 2013. So 20 megatons. It's not going to really affect me. So it's not going to create a lot of damage, and it might not be close to where I'm at anyway. Then there's going to be a second one that's going to be larger, that's going to be further away from California, and is going to create some damage. So anyways, these, this one is 2014 UR 116. Okay, it just passed. It says, they keep changing the news articles, but it cycles around the Earth and the Sun every 3 years. So in 2017, it's due to come back around. They say it's no immediate threat, and whatever, Russia, however, doesn't agree. It could be pulled off course and then cause some damage. And then this is the one, there's another one, oh, here it is, 2014 UR 116. He says it's a doomsday asteroid on its way to Earth. So he takes a different perspective on it, and he writes about it. And I'll leave the link because I'm trying to wrap up. Also, NASA's been sending out these missions to space rocks so that they can try to deflect or take readings, and they're trying to investigate some of these large rocks that are coming past us. Okay, this is 1999 RQ36. They say in here 2182, but if you read this article by Paul Sutherland, He says it may hit Earth in 2022. It has 1,000 times the power of the Russian one, and it's large. It's like a kilometer wide. It says a mile wide. No, in August 1998, a mile-wide asteroid had a near miss as it passed within 450,000 miles of Earth. That's pretty close. Anyways, so I'll leave links to these. And then on that note, finally, you know, people say, so I don't have dates or timings for any of these events other than they are coming, and we know from biblical prophecy that they will occur. Okay, but also everyone is getting all over on Efrain Rodriguez about his prophecy. Now, I can't speak for the man because I am not him, and I'm not going to presume to know what he's thinking or what the Lord's told him. All I was shown was that the Lord revealed to me that he was a man of God. He's not intentionally trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes or make false prophecies or just, you know, he is a humble servant of the Lord. And so all I can say is, if he's wrong on his timing, perhaps he presumed, okay? Perhaps he assumed that it would be within this time because of what, you know, how he felt. That doesn't make it right. It doesn't excuse him. Okay, however, I don't feel that that makes him a false prophet. We have to be specific and very careful when we speak something forth in the name of the Lord. That's why I always say it's my opinion if I state something that the Lord hasn't revealed to me. Or if he hasn't given me dates, I'm not going to say a date. But as far as Efrain goes, you know, perhaps could the vision be true and then the timing is wrong? Yes. Does that make him a false prophet? You decide. It's between him and the Lord. I personally don't feel that because if you look at all the warnings of a false teacher or prophet in the Bible, it states over and over that their main purpose is to draw people away from the Lord. And in everything I've heard from Efrain, he's always directing people to God and to the Word and to pray and to ask the Lord themselves. So in my opinion, he has not done anything that draws attention away from the Lord or to a different God, you know, or to not believe in the Lord. So in that sense, he's not a false teacher in the sense that he's drawing people away from the Lord. Now, if he speaks something that the Lord didn't say to him, then that's another story. But again, only God knows. And it could be that he's just off on his timing or he assumed, which would be, you know, it's bad because it gives everyone else bad name. But I'm just saying, you know, these things from a biblical perspective, we know the asteroids are coming. We see in Revelation, there's not just one, but perhaps, I mean, it's sort of interesting if this one is so big and it has a chance of hitting in 2022 and it's going to be 2015. That's like 7 years. Could it be one of the bowls? It could. And so that's just what I'm trying to say is we need to pay attention to the times, the signs of the times, and we need to make sure that we're right with the Lord and that we're living for him so that whenever he does take the church, we're not left. And as long as we're here, we're used as him as a witness so that others can be brought into the kingdom as well. And I'll leave a link for, here's Near Earth Object Program, JPL. Look at all these near Earth objects. So now they're monitoring all these, and some come very close, you know, and some are further and some are larger, whereas some are smaller. But they have an ongoing list of, and a lot of times they find these asteroids just days before they're approaching. So it's impossible for them to track all these objects, but now they're paying closer attention, and you have to wonder why. Anyways, I hope this has been insightful, and God bless.